سلام دوستان، فرشادیم هستم و خوش اومدید به یه سری جدید. تو این سری قراره بریم سراغ بازی استنلی پارابل. قبل از اینکه بریم سراغ بازی حتما یادتون نره به کانال من سابسکرایب کنید. اگر از این ویدیو خوش اومد دکمه لایک رو بزنید و اگه نظری هم داشتید پایین تو بخش کامنت ها برام بنویسید. پس بریم سراغ بازی ببینیم بازی چجوریه. بازی حول محور تصمیمات خود بازیکن یا همون ما میچرخه و یه راوی داره که بهم میگه چیکار بکنیم و چیکار نکنیم و تصمیم با خودمونه که چیزایی که راوی میگه رو بکنیم یا نکنیم، که بسته به تصمیممون پایانهای مختلفی داره و اگه اشتباه نکنم حدود 100 تا اینا فکر کنم پایان مختلف داره.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
میگین داستان یه مرد به نام استنلی است. میگه استنلی برای یه کمپانی کار میکنه و کارش اینه که روی کیبورد دکمه میزنه، از تو مانیتور دستور میاد بهش و اونم دکمه ها رو میزنه. میگه هر روز، هر ماه و هر سال همین کار ادامه میداده. چه کار مسخره و چرتی، اصلا منو بکشن هم همچین کاری نمی کنم. و میگه یه روز یه اتفاق عجیبی افتاد. چه اینجوری میشه؟
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
لعنتی، از این بازی جالبه که کلا نه سایه داره شخصیتمون نه پا داره. جالبه.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
که شاید یه جلسه ای بوده که ما خبر نداشتیم. کجا هستن اینا؟
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
الان راوی بهمون میگه که باید بریم سمت در چپی، یعنی اینجا وارد بشیم. ولی خب ما اول بذارید تمام کارهایی که راوی میگه رو بکنیم ببینیم آخرش به کجا میرسیم و خب بعدش میتونیم تصمیمای خودمون رو بگیریم.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
دفتر رئیس.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
الان بهمون میگه که استنلی باید بره طبقه بالا که ما هم همین کار میکنیم، کاری که راوی میگه بهمون. کجاست دفترش؟ اینجاست.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to import the correct code by shell. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
رمزو پیدا کنه. اوکی، الان طبیعتا باید فکر کنم بریم اینجا. اوه شیت. So far so good. همین بطه داره لود میکنه. خیال کردم تمام شد. گیم پلی اصلیش فکر کنم 1 ساعته، نمیدونم دقیق نمیدونم، شاید هم نیم ساعته، کلا نمیدونم، اصلا زیاد اطلاعات ندارم از بازی.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now?
میگه استنلی الان به کارش فکر میکنه که کلا داشته چیکار میکرده این همه مدت. اوه شیت، برقام رفت. و بله زیاد اطلاعاتی ندارم از این بازی، ولی خب دیدم بازی عجیب غریبیه و منم به بازی عجیب غریب علاقه خاصی دارم و گفتیم بذار امتحانش بکنیم. اولین بازی عجیب غریبی که انجام دادیم سوپر لیمینال بود که اگه ندیدین این بالا بهتون پیشنهاد شه برید اونم ببینید، خیلی جالب بود. انا میگه استنلی با خودش فکر کرد که چه عجیب غریبه اینجا و چه رازی در این ساختمون پنهان هست. شیت انا اوه شیت.
Their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers, the lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
اینا دوربینای اتاق کارکن‌ها هستن. یعنی همه کارکن‌ها تحت نظر دارن. دکمه چیکار میکنه؟ Fired. اخراج شدن اونا. اونا چرا اخراج شدن؟ یعنی اینا داشتن ذهنمون رو کنترل میکردن.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blinded? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad mind control
or content.
States offline.
Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
الان راوی میگه که استنلی قراره کل اینا رو بهتری کنه و خرابشون کنه تا دیگه هیچ کسی رو نتونن در واقع ذهنشون کنترل کنن. mind controls idle awaiting input. و باید آف رو بزنیم فکر کنم. اوه شیت، چیکار کردیم؟ اوکی، یه آهنگی میاد.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
نگاهی تمام شده.
Yes.
بله تمام شد.
He had defeated the machine.
و ما بردیم.
Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been free from the machine's
راوی بهمون میگه که درست استنلی آزاد شده، اما سوالات همچنان در ذهنش باقیه. سوالاتی مانند این که همکاراش کجا رفتن و کلا چی شده، چرا این کار رو میکرده.
Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps
یعنی ما اینجا بودیم، الان میتونیم
Stanley stepped through the open door.
و میگه استنلی
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
و میگه استنلی خوشحال بود از اینکه آزاد شده. اوکی، پس این راحت ترین اندینگش بود فکر کنم که تقریبا 10 دقیقه طول کشید. و اوکی، الان دوباره بازی از اول شروع شد. همینجوریه، هر وقت تمام میشه دوباره میریم از اول شروع میکنیم که بتونیم اندینگ های مختلف رو تجربه کنیم. دوباره همون حرف هستن. درها باز نمیشن.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
این راه اتاق جلسه نبود، اما راه پذیراییه.
Room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
میگه الان باید اولین در سمت چپمون رو بریم، ولی ما نمیریم. این بارم میخوام تمام اون چیزایی که میگه رو برعکسش رو عمل کنم، ببینم چجوری تمام میشه. بهمون تیکه میندازه، میگه خیلی اسکلی و اصلا نمیدونی کدوم طرف باید بری.
I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
فکر کنم بتونیم، اما خب نمیپریم چون
someone you've forgotten about.
اونجوری نمیتونیم حرفای راوی رو عوض کنیم. باید مستقیم بریم تا راوی بگه کجا بریم و ما برعکسش رو بریم.
Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
میگه دختره منتظر بوده کی؟ اوش.
You need to be the one to do this.
میگه همون دختره است.
If you can truly place your faith in another.
What the hell? تلفن رو برداشتی. من که گفتم باید برعکس کاری که میگه رو بکنیم.
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
What the hell? Shit.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
در واقع کلا نباید تلفون رو جواب میدادیم، ولی خب من اسکل تلفن رو جواب دادم. نباید بریم. چرا من به حرف این گوش میکنم؟ اوه شیت. میگه الان تو داستان من هستی و نمیتونی کاری که میگم رو نکنی.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
میگه این یه داستان خیلی بد در مورد مرگ استنلی است و اینجا هم نوشته که عدد 2 رو روی کیبورد بزنید که خب فکر کنم باید بزنیم دیگه چون این داستان اونه.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, In his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
And
so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy. And so in his head, he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Okay, سی رو بزنیم.
But there is no answer. How could
کم کم داره اتاق عوض میشه.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has.
تبدیل میشه به اتاق کارمون.
The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
میگه کم کم یادمون میره که کدوم زندگی واقعیه.
He can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
که الان بهمون میگه که وقتی که ازت میخوایم که دکمه رو بزنی نزن. ما هم این کارو میکنیم چون راوی بهمون میگه. ولی یکم الان دارم وسوسه میشم که دکمه رو بزنم. نمیدونم. بذارم نه نزنم. آقا خیلی میخوام بزنم ببینم چی میشه، ولی خیلی هم میخوام ببینم نزنم ببینم چی میشه. به خاطر همین نمیزنم، ولی فکرم نکنم نزنم چیزی نمیشه، چون راوی میخواد من اون دکمه رو بزنم و اونقدر اینجوری منتظرم میذاره که آخرش بزنم، پس میزنم.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Okay. Press P.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I...
یعنی مردیم دوباره؟ What the hell؟ بله اینم یه اندینگ خیلی متفاوت و جالبی بود. اوکی، این بار دوباره کارهایی که میگه رو برعکسش رو میکنیم، ولی این بار نمیخوایم تلفن رو جواب بدیم. تلفن رو جواب نمیدیم و به جاش نمیدونم شاید هم بپریم رو راه روی که بود.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
خیلی دلم میخواد برم تو اون دره ببینم چیه، ولی همچنان میخوام برم اینجا.
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
میگه برای خودم نمیگم، برای اون میگم. ولی خب ما میدونیم که داره چرت و پرت میگه، چون اصلا همچین کسی وجود نداره. اوکی، فکر کنم مجبوریم بریم این تو، ولی تلفن رو قرار نیست جواب بدیم. نه، من جواب نمیدم به هیچ وجه. فکر کنم باید صبر کنیم دیگه، صبر کنیم ببینیم قراره چی بشه. آقا جواب نمیدم، دست از سرم بردار. من قرار نیست اون تلفن رو جواب بدم، ولم کن برم. فکر کنم باید از برق بکشیمش. اوکی.
Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Yes.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that?
از برق در
You
آوردمش.
actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
میگه زد دابل چک بکنم ببینم میتونه از دستورات پیروی نکنه.
where he finds his wife and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
میگه تو استنلی نیستی، تو یه آدم واقعی هستی.
This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices.
Okay.
And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
What the hell?
It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack."
داره میگه اگه دیدی یه کسی منطقی نیست، practice میگه تمرین کن.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
What the hell? Oh shit.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Okay, خب الان اومدیم بیرون. اوکی کجا باید بریم؟ ما باید بیایم اینجا.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character
الان
dying
اینجا رو حساب کشیدن که نتونیم بپریم رو اونجا.
We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
میگه الان میخوایم برگردیم به جایی که قبلتر یه تصمیم گرفتی اونجا. اوکی
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
میگه الان باید بری سمت چپ.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
میگه که بریم در سمت چپی، اما ما دوباره میریم سمت راستی ببینیم چی میشه. اوه شیت.
Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
بازی کرش میکنه الان. میگه الان دوباره از همون میخواد که برگردیم، ولی خب ما این کارو نمیکنیم چون نمیخوایم کاری که اون میگره بکنیم. What the hell؟ آقا من نمیرم اونجا. ولم کن. ولم کن بابا. درو ببن. نسین. ای بابا. بذار بیام ببینیم چی میشه الان. نه یعنی چی؟ فکر کنم رای نداریم، همین باید بریم سمت چپ. که بریم دیگه، چیکار کنیم دیگه؟ بریم ببینیم چی میشه.
It's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
بازی رو خاموش کنم. اوه شیت. الان بازی رو شات داون کرد. عجیبه. اوه شیت. اینجا دیگه کجاست؟
I'm here. I'm still here in this pile of rubbish, with you who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Okay.
Oh, my story.
If
you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect.
در الان داستانش رو تعریف میکنه، همون که اول بازی رفتیم و تمامش کردیم.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story
الان
first.
میگه
I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley
الان دوباره
came to a set
برگشتیم به
of
همون
two open
قسمت
doors, he entered the door on his
که
left.
بهمون میگه که بریم در سمت چپی، ولی خب ما رفتیم سمت راستی و دیدیم چی شد. به خاطر همین فکر کنم برای این قسمت کافی باشه. خیلی ممنون که تا اینجا این ویدیو رو تماشا کردید. حتما یادتون نره به کانال من سابسکرایب کنید. اگر از این ویدیو خوش اومد دکمه لایک رو بزنید و اگه نظرم داشتید پایین تو بخش کامنت ها برام بنویسید. تا ویدیو بعدی، خدا نگهدار.